Hello everybody and welcome to the Thursday edition of Video Clips. People have been asking me to do one of these sessions on coconut oil, and I finally got around to doing the research, and so here goes. Coconut oil is represented as having almost magical properties. I mean, I was astounded. I've heard about all this stuff, but I got on the internet and I was ready to see that coconut oil would unload my dishwasher, would weed my flower beds, and babysit my grandchildren. I mean, it's astounding. People claim that it's a cure for everything: Alzheimer's disease, hypothyroidism, cancer, all health conditions. The question is, are the claims true? Well, the nutrient breakdown alone says that coconut oil is not a health-promoting food. 1 tablespoon of coconut oil has 116 calories and 14 grams of fat, 12 of which are saturated fat. Now, I want to put this in perspective. A tablespoon of lard has 5 grams of saturated fat. Coconut oil, 12, all right? But advocates of coconut oil say that the high saturated fat content doesn't matter, and when you eat dietary cholesterol and you end up with higher cholesterol levels, that doesn't matter. And I looked at several sites that were talking about coconut oil as if it's the greatest thing since right turn on red light, and frequently cited are populations like the residents of Kitava and the Minangkabau, I think it is, of Indonesia, who eat a diet high in coconut oil, and yet they maintain excellent health. So I decided to check this out for myself. There are 2,500 residents, give or take, of Kitava, many of whom are farmers, and the diet is concentrated in tubers like yams and sweet potatoes and taro, fruit, fish, and coconut. They don't eat dairy products, processed food, or drink alcohol, coffee, or tea. The macronutrient makeup of the Kitava diet is 69% carbohydrate, 21% fat, and 10% protein. Not surprisingly, based on this diet, the Kitava have lower body mass index, lower blood pressure, lower cholesterol, lower LDL than people living in westernized countries. Almost as not surprising, there's no heart disease in this population. Researchers state that the dietary habits of these people, along with lower serum cholesterol levels, are responsible for their excellent health status. In other words, the Kitava eat a high carbohydrate, relatively low fat, and low protein plant-based diet. Coconut oil, and fish are pretty minor parts of the diet, as is evidenced by the macronutrient makeup of the diet, which is low in fat and low in protein. So, this is hardly an endorsement for eating a high-fat diet or a high-cholesterol diet, or for the statement that plasma cholesterol levels don't matter. The Kitava eat a low-fat diet, they have low plasma cholesterol levels, and their diet and health status supports what we're teaching, not the advocates of high-fat diets and coconut oil. Now, let's go on to the Minangkabau of Indonesia. They also include coconut and coconut oil, but their diet is different. The Minangkabau diet is concentrated in vegetables, rice, fruit, fish, and coconut is the primary source of fat in the diet. Beef and chicken are consumed on special occasions. Pork isn't eaten, and lamb, goat, and wild game are rarely eaten. But the diet is much higher in fat. It's over 30%, and a significantly higher percentage of that fat is saturated fat. Now, these people have the highest rate of hypertension in Indonesia at 23.6% incidence, and also the highest proportion of overweight people at 36%. So, apparently the high-fat eating and the coconut oil intake are not working out so well for the Minangkabau. The bottom line is that the diets and health status of populations like these, which are frequently mentioned in these websites, I found it on 4 or 5 different ones, don't support the idea that people should include coconut oil in their diets, eat a high-fat diet, or be unconcerned about plasma cholesterol levels. They support our stance, not the people who are promoting coconut oil. Now, proponents say that coconut oil's main saturated fat, lauric acid, has been shown in some studies to increase HDL levels, and this is actually true. The problem is that increasing HDL levels has not been shown to make a positive difference in long-term health outcomes. In fact, studies have shown that drugs and supplements that increase HDL cholesterol don't improve health outcomes and in some instances worsen them. Now, the effect of lauric acid on LDL cholesterol depends on which type of fat it's replacing in the diet. If it replaces vegetable and polyunsaturated fats, it increases LDL. If it replaces butter, it's usually neutral. So in no way does this positively affect cholesterol levels. Many promoters claim that coconut oil promotes weight loss based on an unsubstantiated claim that the medium-chain triglycerides in coconut oil are metabolized differently than other fats. This claim is largely hypothetical and based on animal studies. The few studies that have involved humans consuming coconut oil and weight loss have shown inconsistent results. Mary Newport is a medical doctor who claims to have cured her husband of Alzheimer's disease with coconut oil, so I started to check her out. Her book, Alzheimer's Disease, What If There Was a Cure?, makes claims not only about the benefits of coconut oil for Alzheimer's disease, but for other neurological disorders too. The evidence, quote unquote, presented in this book is principally storytelling, including her own story, hypothetical research, and animal studies. She's frequently seen online with who else but David Perlmutter, the author of Grain Brain, another poorly referenced storybook about health. I've covered that in one of my concierge classes. We won't go into David Perlmutter here, we'll just stick with this storyline. Now, I have a lot of issues with Mary Newport and her hypothesis and her book. She claims that a ketogenic diet cured her husband, not coconut oil. Unless her husband lived almost exclusively on coconut oil, it's highly unlikely that the addition of coconut oil alone kept him in a state of ketosis. On her website, she posted information about promising research on ketogenic diets for patients with many conditions, including cancer. Now, these studies are not being conducted on the magical properties of coconut oil. These are studies that are being conducted using ketogenic diets with a lot of other adjuvant treatments to determine if they're beneficial for conditions like cancer. So this is highly misleading. She promotes coconut oil as having curative properties while citing research studies that are not about coconut oil as a treatment for disease. Now, this is what was amazing. When I checked out her website, she says that her husband improved and remained stable for 2 years after the coconut oil cure and then died of Alzheimer's disease. Well, this is hardly the cure that Alzheimer's patients and their families are hoping for. On her site, Newport thanks the people who've sent her testimonials about coconut oil, claiming to have received over 400. She says some patients had no response, but, quote, the vast majority has reported improvements in cognitive function and overall quality of life. Now, this might be inspiring to some, but the reporting of letters who she's received falls far short of the evidence that would be required to start encouraging people to eat coconut oil. I mean, that responsible people would need to encourage people to eat coconut oil. Newport's website features a section called Read and Print Articles, on which are posted a few case studies, newspaper articles, and then a list of scientific references for ketone research. Again, she's mixing her drinks here. There's a difference between adding coconut oil to the diet and adopting a ketogenic diet for treatment, a distinction that she either doesn't understand or chooses not to clarify for her readers. I've deliberately spent a lot of time on Newport because she is often cited as the reason, and her book is cited as the reason for putting coconut oil in the diet. And I'm getting ready in a few minutes here to record a talk on Alzheimer's disease, and the worst thing you could do is feed coconut oil to an Alzheimer's patient based on what we know about how Alzheimer's disease develops. The reality is that there is not a single study published showing that human patients with Alzheimer's disease have improved or recovered as a result of consuming coconut oil. There are also no studies showing that medium-chain triglycerides reduce the risk of Alzheimer's or improve outcomes for people who have it. Dr. Daniel Huang, a research molecular biologist specializing in lauric acid at the Western Human Nutrition Research Center at the University of California, Davis, says, there are a lot of claims that coconut oil may have health benefits, but there is no concrete scientific data yet to support this. Now, a lot of hype for coconut oil comes from some other questionable sources. I consider this Mary Newport questionable. Dr. McCullough advises cooking with coconut oil because it's good for your heart, contains the same type of fat found in mother's milk, can improve immune function, promote weight loss. So I visited Mercola's site, on which he sells coconut oil, and the site features a video of Mercola talking about coconut oil and then a very long article that contains absolutely no references. Now, the first expert, if we want to call him that, in the article is Weston Price, the dentist who visited some primitive populations back in the 1940s to look at the effects of their diet on their teeth. Price made a lot of observations about the health of these populations, which have since been discredited. His book was a travelogue, not a referenced piece about diet and health. The video features Mercola's ramblings about protein types and carbohydrate types, the usual direct that he puts in his videos, and encourages people to apply these categories to themselves when making decisions about what to eat. He says that if coconut oil makes you nauseous or sick, then you're probably a carbohydrate type and you should just eat less of it. I mean, amazingly. Now, another interesting character who loves coconut oil is Dr. Oz, thinks it's a magical food. Posted on his website is an article titled 99 Amazing Uses for Coconut Oil. Oz claims that coconut oil is a heart-healthy food. Apparently he hasn't read any of the research about the Minangkabau of Indonesia and their health status. That can help people to avoid getting sick when exposed to viruses, improve thyroid function, improve blood sugar, reduce the need for insulin, increase energy, improve digestion, increase absorption of vitamins, lower cholesterol, and reverse aging. I could go on. That is a partial list, and not a single citation on his website to support any of it. It's called making stuff up, and apparently he has no problem doing it. Now, the Wellness Mama, another big proponent, she has 101 ways to use coconut oil, makes even more health claims. At the bottom of her very long list, she writes that studies show that coconut oil can lower cholesterol and blood pressure, improve thyroid health, boost metabolism and increase bone strength, and fight infection and candida. So since she said studies show, I got all excited, so I clicked on the link and I was taken to a site called Tropical Traditions, which sells products including coconut oil. The references are a book written by a chef called Virgin Coconut Oil, How It Has Changed People's Lives and How It Can Change Yours. The book features over 100 personal stories and over 85 recipes. I was a little bit disappointed here. It didn't seem like the kind of evidence. Calling me crazy. I just like to see stuff in the British Medical Journal or JAMA, something respectable. The author, Brian, of the book on coconut oil, Brian Shalavi, has a BA in Bible Greek and MA in linguistics, and he's the executive chef for Tropical Traditions. Now, I could go on, but I think you get the idea. Site after site after site basically features this kind of tripe, storytelling, unsubstantiated claims. And those who offer any information at all cite references that don't support their claim. When I read the articles, and some of them I read 2 and 3 times, trying to look for what in the world could have given this person the idea that this supported his or her stance on coconut oil. And they must just, they must really hope or count on the fact that people aren't going to look this stuff up and read it for themselves. So bottom line, the popularity of coconut oil is based on a lot of myth and misrepresentation. I'll forgive some of the bloggers and people sharing personal stories because I think that in many cases they just don't understand the type of evidence needed to support claims. But I have a real issue with health professionals like this Mary Newport and Joseph Mercola. Either they don't know any better, that's disturbing, or they know better and deliberately mislead, even more disturbing. But either way, I think what it comes down to is that consumers need to be very cautious in looking at and evaluating diet and health and medical information wherever it comes from. I mean, the misrepresentation seems to be more the rule, not the exception. Couple of things before we finish up here. First of all, there are 12 references to this. I'm very careful to document my stuff. If you want to read the articles and the references, become a subscriber to the Health Brace Library. Call our office at 614-841-7700 to do that. And this is a holiday weekend starting tomorrow. And so I don't know what you guys are going to be doing. I have a fabulous, great weekend planned of running in the sun, yoga on the beach, because I have a little place up on the lake in Port Clinton, Ohio, and reading medical journals. What more fun could there be, right? So, but here's the point. Whatever you're going to do, don't eat anything I wouldn't eat. So just hear my voice in the back of your head when you're getting ready to reach for something you know is terrible. Put it back down. All right, have a great holiday. I'll be back to you on Thursday of next week. No video clips on Tuesdays since we've got a little holiday thing going on. I will talk to you next Thursday.